We've been in a lot of locations over the years.
Desert Bus or us?
Desert Bus.
Desert but us.
Yeah. My first one was in Desert Bus. My first one was Moonbase Mark III.
Yep.
But we've been in Moonbase Mark III. Mm-hmm. We've been at the Oak location, Oak Street location. I think we did that twice, but in 2 different spaces. We did it at Broughton Street that one year, which was Desert Bus 10, that had had the bricks.
Oh! They're not ready! Oh no!
Which one's it going to be?
Oh no.
No, we know this one. This one's fake.
This one's a trick.
We're on to you.
We thought we'd fix it. Let's actually just hold this for 1 second so we can officially fix it.
By all means.
Prepare for
We'll chat for a minute on that then.
Sure.
Favorite location, least favorite locations?
For Desert Bus?
For Desert Bus, so the ones we've been to.
This is my favorite.
Yeah, I think this is my favorite too, actually.
This is my favorite.
Yeah.
I think my least favorite was my bedroom at in my old apartment.
Okay, fair, all right.
Yeah, I didn't get to see anybody. That kind of sucked.
Your mics are still live engineering, just so you know.
They can just hear us.
That's fine. They can hear what goes on in here.
Yeah, just wanted you to know. But yeah, I feel like
Least favorite is, maybe my Studio B while you all were in Studio A. We were down the hall from each other and we couldn't interact.
that was not the best. Mark III was a lot of fun, but it was so tight.
8 or 9 were really wide, which was amazing.
Yes.
It was awful because it was like concrete with carpet,
I forgot
but
about
it was just
Victoria.
like so wide.
Yeah, 8 we had a ton of space in, right? Like we had, and with the green things at the back, it was like we had so much room to do things. That felt really good. 9 I was less jazzed about when we got there, because it was like, oh, this will be a big space, and you get into the space, you realize it's actually not that much bigger than, like, it's not big enough to be interesting. So, all right. Yeah.
2018 and 2019 was a good. Those were 2018 was my first, and I think that the venue there.
That's what
it was.
The
the
whole
double-sided.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had
That
the whole
one was
floor.
good.
When we had all of Oak Street available to us, I thought was like probably the where it was like we have a massive area, like a massive office space for people to work in, and then Desert Bus was just in another adjoining office space.
Yeah.
That felt really comfortable.
That and when like Moonbase Mark IV Delta and then Moonbase Mark V, where we had during Desert Bus just stuff not in our office space.
Yeah.
Was great.
Yeah.
Y'all don't have to hold for holes. We've figured out that our workaround is very broken, so now we need another one. So
We're hosting!
There's a second row of camera options, and we don't know how to cycle back to the first row. So it's locked on the second row.
Oh.
Paul, do you have a favorite and least favorite location for where we've held Desert Bus in the past? Because we didn't get to experience, none of us here, other than you, got to experience or I guess and Andre as well, have gotten to experience anything before Moonbase Mark III.
So, yeah.
So yeah.
Desert Bus 1 and 2 were a blank zone for the most of us.
Yeah, so Desert Bus 1 was at Bill and Morgan's house.
Yes.
I'm not sure whether Graham was living there at the time as well. But, which had the advantage of being like a house,
Yes.
so that it had like a kitchen and stuff. But the disadvantage of being, Bill and Morgan's house.
Still ultimately is a house. Yeah.
Desert Bus 2 was probably, Desert Bus 2 was at the first moon base.
Right.
Which was 200 square feet. So it was smaller than, the stage area was the entirety of the room. And that was, for the bus and everything, plus, where we were trying to store some prizes, where we were trying to do everything.
I would also assume then that was also not your favorite space to hold Desert Bus in.
No. It was not great.
Okay.
And then 3 was also at the moon base, bigger moon base. And that was definitely better.
Mark II?
Mark II moon base. But then, I think Mark III worked actually quite well because, we had it was because there was the 2 floors.
Yeah.
So I
Keep
quite
people separate.
I quite liked that.
Flush counter.
Yeah, that was not the best, but it was fine. It's fine.
It was fine for everyone not working next to the door.
So that was Desert Bus 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're in Mark III apparently.
Yeah, and then 8 and 9 were
In Fort Victoria.
they're in 2 different
Yes.
offsite locations. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 10 was in the
Broughton Street Art Gallery type thing.
that area.
Yeah, I
the
think
big
it's an
brick-
the brick
optometrist
floor.
now,
Is it? Okay.
or some sort
It's
of
right
yoga
beside
studio.
like my massage therapist.
Yeah,
Nice.
there's a bunch of professional buildings.
And
That was fun because we could go out to the street at the very end.
Yeah, we got that scissor lift.
Yeah. It was
yeah,
cool.
there's a neat that there we could literally just like open the doors out to the street. That was sort of there's a couple of bits where that happened. So that was quite neat. And that was Desert Bus 10.
It's not a busy street, too, which is great.
And there was like construction going on with like jackhammers across the street. And we were like, oh, that's going to be a problem. When we went over to them and we were like, hey, can you guys like lay off the jackhammers for a little bit? And they're like, yeah, sure. Like, why did that work? Don't they have a deadline or something? Oh.
They get paid by the day either way, Paul.
Yeah, that's their boss's problem.
Why'd you guys stop? I don't know. Some like young people came over and asked us to stop.
Young people. Local youths came over.
Yeah, that was
Some like tweens.
that was
they
like
were like
eight
in
years-
an
8
abandoned
years
building
ago.
down the street.
We were
like,
They were very polite.
It was the cast of
about
the Goonies. They came over and asked us to stop.
we were
Sean
young
Bean was
then.
there.
I also like that one because it's very close to my house.
Yeah, that was so convenient. This one less so.
So that's 10. 11 and 12.
We're at Oak.
Or I
No.
guess we've moved.
No,
this
11
boat-
was at the
Yeah.
old moon base because that was
11,
Colin's
right?
first.
11 was at. I kind of liked 11 because that was at Moonbase Mark 5. Mark 5. But
Right, because we
but
opened up the whole
but
green screen on the back wall.
that was Moonbase Mark 5, but the tattoo parlor beside us hadn't gone in yet, so we had that whole space too for all the like overflow stuff.
Was that 2017? 2016.
2017, because 2018 was Oak Street, and that was my first Desert Bus.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that worked out quite well, but we realized that that wouldn't work if we didn't have that space in between.
Yeah. The extra piece.
Yeah. And then and then we moved and yeah, like it is saying, I think Oak Street worked quite well. There's some sound issues with Oak Street.
Yeah.
But and especially when we got sort of tucked into only one half of the space,
Yeah.
it started to get a little tricky.
Yeah, because 2018 was like having all that space, having a separate stage area. Was like, this is really interesting and good. But then you're also like, you've got drop ceilings, you've got like, everything's just a big open box. It was kind of neat being able to put engineering.
The ceiling was a little bit low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was harder for us to like, we could hang stuff from the ceiling, but
Andrew
we
hired a band that had instruments to carry.
that was
Yeah.
2017, wasn't it?
bump against this. 2017, the year we're talking about?
No,
No, that was
'cause-
19.
that was at-
that was
that
my
was
grandfather,
19,
yeah.
Did at 19?
Yeah,
Yeah.
19 was the Handfather and,
And James
the,
bringing in the band.
I thought he brought Buchan to the.
Oh,
That was
you're
in
talking
Moonbase,
about-
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
That
yeah,
was
that's
not
what
at
I
the
thought you were talking
Handfather. The
about.
Handfather wasn't at the
Wait,
same
no,
location.
No,
'cause
no.
I
No.
I remember being here the year that he had the band.
Yeah, but that was at Moonbase Mark 5.
I wasn't here for a Moonbase.
He might have done
weird.
a band
Yeah.
more than once.
Oh, good. Yes.
Incoming day.
I'm not gonna bother. It's good.
That-
Don't you hate it when you're walking along, when you're walking along with your boyfriend and he suddenly sprouts two heads and is distracted by somebody?
That would have saved him because he could have continued to look at his girlfriend and then also looked at the
That's,
other.
you need 3 heads for that.
You need 3 heads to look at the girlfriend and also at the girl.
And where you're going!
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, chat corrected me. Apparently, it was the year before I was. I don't. Time is.
See, and people are like, "Oh, Buchan
Valuable.
Buchan was the one with the helicopter." No, that was at.
That was the Tectoria.
That was number 9.
Or yeah, that was.
That's not
yeah,
Victoria. That's the Alpine
Right.
Right, but
with the murder hallway.
but they were the
Yeah.
ones who referred us over to that one.
Yeah.
The one with the murder hallway. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, and then 2019 was the worst.
Yeah. 'Cause that was the kitchen right next to
Dang.
the stage.
Castle-wise with $500 donation.
Ooh,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
very good. It was also terrible because I got sick, so I only was there for like one day.
Right. 2019 was half of Oak Street.
Yeah.
Right? It was
Yeah.
just the
And
yeah.
Yeah, we still had catering, and they would have to come in quietly with all the pans, and we had to do everything.
Yeah,
as
everything had to be
quietly-
really quiet.
Yeah, because we
Yeah.
were right there next to the stage, and every time we had to run the dishwasher, we're like, "Hey, broadcast team, we're about to run the dishwasher."
And then 2020 hit.
Yeah.
And
And the next 3 years were from my apartment.
yeah, everybody was at home except for on Zeta. Heather and I would come.
3 of us were on site, but in separate
In
rooms.
separate-
That's right. Yeah, because we couldn't do it from our houses, or else we'd keep our neighbors awake. So we had to lock down rooms. Did that mean that everybody else also came in to work those rooms too, or did we just have those rooms to ourselves?
Jacob did, right? Because that's when you were doing the
2020,
bread
the bread?
thing, right?
Was 2020 Eat the Bread?
It was the kindness war.
Yeah, 2020
It was the kindness war.
You and
Yeah.
Heather were in Studio C,
Yes.
and Jacob was in there as well.
They were in Studio A.
Yeah, right. We did Studio A the first year.
Yeah, I was in B.
Yeah.
And no one was in C.
Right.
Oh, was
because-
that the second year then? That because I remember you and Heather being in Studio C. Because
You're right. There was a year that we were.
Yeah,
on Green
but I
Studio.
did.
was
I
hybrid,
did from
right?
home.
that year. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was the second. That was 2021.
Yeah. Everybody was still remote, but we laid everything out differently. And then because in 2020, okay, so then there's that, and then 2022 was the hybrid year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were still remote,
Yeah. Zeta was still remote. Dawn
even
Guard
though
was,
most of us were here.
Yeah.
Well, no. Yeah.
We were navigating the idea of like, do we feel safe doing this? How do
I
we
thought
wanna make this
thought
work?
2021 was hybrid.
I think 2021
Was 2 and 2, wasn't it?
We did 2 full remotes, and then we did a hybrid in 2022. I thought because
No, 2021 was 2 shifts were remote and 2 shifts were not. And then 2022 was everyone was in person except for Zeta. And then
And
2023
then
was last year.
Uh,
We were all in person.
What happened last year?
yeah,
We were all in person again.
last year we were here.
Oh, right. Oh my.
in the same spot doing the same things, and if we continue to be here for the next several years, these will all blend together.
Right, because 2022 was still at the other moon base.
Yeah,
and-
2021
and
Zeta and Dawn Guard
was-
were remote, but
yeah,
everybody else was in person.
But the rest
Right.
of us, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
And-
liked that
Oh,
2022 was just Zeta
That was
remote
alpha flight.
for the fact that because we're we're kind of feeling our way through what's safe and what isn't, but it was also like, oh, that means that if people do want to be on Zeta but they can't come to Canada, or they are also feeling COVID cautious, they can be on Zeta. They have to wake up at a weird time.
We'll have a
Because
remote, yeah.
Yeah, there's a place for them to do
Because we
that.
had like Molly on Zeta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it turned out that basically nobody wanted to do that.
Yes.
We had we were like a couple days before the shift started out. I like went to Johnny and I was like, it wouldn't work to like make Zeta also in person, right? Like it starts to be kind of weird
Yeah.
that Zeta is the remote shift but it's still the three of us that are here.
That
in
are here?
Victoria.
Yeah. At that time though, like in all honesty, I would have definitely objected like strenuously because I can't do it. Like in 2022, I'm like I could not do it. I'd have to still be remote. But 2023 comes around, it's like everything's like we're still in a pandemic, but we're not in the emergency part of the pandemic, so I feel a lot better about coming back to the moon base.
But yeah, because I was sick 2019,
Yeah.
it was 4 years that I hadn't actually been to a desert bus in person when we came in last year.
And then when you did, it was like, hey, I'm still on Zeta.
Well, yeah, and that's good, and that's what happened because the first 2020 I was on Dawn Guard again because I've been on Dawn Guard basically the entire
While
time.
you were at home, you made a great flag.
Yeah, and I made a cool
Yeah.
Dawn Guard flag and everything.
No, I mean Zeta.
Well, I made a Dawn Guard flag.
Yeah, but
And
then you made a Zeta
2021,
flag.
I made a Zeta flag.
The important one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only real flag that matters.
And then 2021 I made a Zeta flag. I think it was but I was on Dawn Guard, and then because when we moved to in 2021, Zeta and Dawn Guard were the remote shifts, and the other two were in person. And so anybody who was still remote, either because they were in Vancouver or they were in other places, had to be on either Zeta or Dawn Guard, and nobody wanted to be on Zeta. So Dawn Guard ended up being like 12 people.
Yeah.
And they're like, does anybody want to do Zeta?
That year
I was
was
like, I'll move to Zeta.
interesting.
Sure.
So then, based on all those, Paul, do you have a favorite location and do you have a least favorite location?
I'd say the least favorite was probably that like half of Oak Street. I think that didn't work out too well. Well, I mean, it's hard to say. Like Desert Bus, like the Moonbase Mark I was, objectively a terrible location.
Yes.
But then again, there was only 10 of us in total, so it was a whole different kind of thing.
But if you put because you can kind of we can make brackets, but it's like if you were to put Bill and Morgan's house against Moonbase Mark I, which would you have preferred to run Desert Bus in?
Probably Bill and place, maybe probably Bill and Morgan's place. I think.
So that already bumps
Except-
Moonbase Mark I down to the bottom of the list.
What was the living room in Bill and Morgan's house larger than Moonbase Mark I?
Yes.
Wow.
And had more comfortable furniture, probably.
Yeah, and and we were at the time we were being stupid and doing the 4-hour shifts.
Right.
And so I would do like a shift, and then I would and then stay up for another 12 hours or something, and then I'd just go into one of their bedrooms and crash on their bed, and then get up and do it again.
So related to this,
It wasn't smart.
related to that. So that I'm guessing your least favorite then, Moonbase Mark I, is probably the least favorite of everything.
It wasn't great.
Yeah. So then, do you have a favorite?
I mean, here is pretty great.
Yeah. I think we all kind of agreed on that when we were having the conversation about it. So there's